So, one of the most important things to remember as you're cleaning up your Google Classroom for the end of the year is that you want to make sure you return all work back to your students. And what I mean by this is when you create an assignment and you assign work to your students, Google automatically makes a copy of the files that you want your students to access. As the students open up that file, they gain ownership of that doc, of that slide, of that sheet, and it becomes theirs. After they have turned in that file to you, the ownership of that file is transferred back to you. And you get it, you give them feedback, you give them grades. And if you don't use the return button to return it back to the students, that file still belongs to you. And so it's important that you return all items back to the students because they're the rightful owners. They need to have those files in their own Google Drives so they can go back and access them later if they need to. So let's talk about how you can return files. And I'm going to show you two different ways. So I'm just going to go to this one lesson right here, this science adapted lesson. And if you notice, I have a couple of people who have turned things in. Now, not all students use the turn in feature. Some people just do it, and you have to go and click on each item to make sure that they did it. So I can go right here, and a couple of things that I can do is I want to turn in this work back to these two students. I need to transfer that ownership back to these students. So I'm just going to select this turn in button, and I'm going to click return, and it's going to return the work back to those two students. So I'm going to have to do this for each one of my assignments. So if I continue to go back to my classwork and I click on another assignment, this one nobody's turned it in, so it's not a big deal. Um, in an ideal world, your students have been turning in work. So if I go and click on this assignment, same as before, I'm going to look at the turned in and I'm going to return this item back to that student. Now, the other way that you can do this is you can also use the to-do list. So I selected my menu in the upper left corner, and I'm going to go to do. And I have several classes. I'm just going to use my drop down to go to this one particular class. And notice here, I can see all of my assignments. I could go click on turned in, and I'm just going to select these two and return the work back to them. And again, that was through my to-do list over here on the left side. So again, it's just important that we return the work back to the students, that we transfer that ownership back to them so the original owners of those files have those files back in their possession. So as always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to your technology coach for more support.